Hey, help support the show by becoming a member on Patreon or YouTube. You'll get 4 bonus videos a month, plus ad-free versions of every Junkyard pod, and a special shout out at the beginning of each video. This is the best way to help me as a creator, and so thank you, and go Cavs.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to
Welcome to the Junkyard Pod. I'm Tony Pesta, joined by Jackson Flickinger, and the Cleveland Cavaliers just played 47 of the most inspiring, emphatic, encouraging basketball I maybe have ever seen given the circumstances. And then what they did in the last minute may have cost them the season. We'll talk about future stuff and towards the end of the episode. But Jackson, you were in the arena. I'm telling you right now, I've thought about it. This is the most heartbreaking playoff loss I have ever felt as a Cavs fan. This is it. There's others that are in the running. This is number one.
There is nothing quite like the sound of a stunned arena that is just murmuring, because it's just a lot of wait, did I really just see, did that ball really go up? When it went in, I knew that it was to take the lead, but I looked at the scoreboard 4 times and was like, no, that can't, that's not real. Come on, this is fake. Let's be real here, guys. So, and then there's just kind of and then it was well, he has to, they have to get this shot in with 1 second left, because that would just be right. And no, that didn't happen. So yeah, I had to, you spend, if you're a writer, you spend the whole game writing your article. I had an article written, completely ready to go, which is pretty standard stuff. And then usually you sometimes write a second one just so you can hit publish at the buzzer. Obviously, there was nothing from the article that I wrote about how the Cavs controlled the glass, controlled the paint, all those things. There was nothing that was salvageable, so I just had to start from scratch. And while I was writing, there were still people 10, 15, 20 minutes sitting in their seats in disbelief still. Just sitting there, not able to comprehend what they just saw. And that is, we're recording, it's 11 o'clock.
It's been about an hour, maybe a little more.
I think it's been more than an hour, and I still don't understand what happened. We've rewatched everything, but I do want to start off with, let's talk about how bad this was. I want
to go through the last minute play by play.
We'll do that. But overall, how bad? You said this is the worst.
Yeah.
The second worst. I think this is the second worst single night of Cavaliers basketball in my lifetime.
What would be number one for you?
Yeah, I mean, number one is the decision.
Okay.
There will never be a night like the decision, and the Cavs could lose this game 6 times. They could lose this exact game 6 straight times, and it still wouldn't come close to the decision. But other than that, from an on-court perspective, I was trying to think of the worst losses. You have the J.R. Smith game, and that's they didn't have a chance of winning that series.
Exactly.
It was bad.
Exactly.
The Magic series, that's always one thing I come back to. But there was no one loss that did it. It was just a cumulative it was just yeah, they're really gonna lose this, aren't they? There wasn't one singular moment. Yeah. You think of the Knicks series, that was bad, but you weren't winning a championship
long term anyway. You weren't winning the championship. Right. Same thing with 2018. Even people mention, 2017, Kyle Korver missing the shot, Kevin Durant game winner. Even that, yeah, you win that game, you feel like you have a chance. But even that, I look back at that and it hurt. Mm-hmm. But in hindsight, I'm yeah, we didn't have much of a chance anyway. This is the first one where I'm there's multiple reasons, not to interrupt you, but the only other one that I think gets the closest to me was when Derrick Rose hit the game-winning buzzer beater against us, only because that, to me, I was still okay, the series is still hanging in the balance. I believe that made it 2-1. It's the implications, not just for this one particular game, but for potentially the rest of the series, how we lost it, how good of the first 47 minutes you got. Like, this was the game that you win. Everything except the 3-point shooting, which was still bad. And we'll talk about that. But like, everything went your way.
Mm-hmm.
You clean this up. You go back to Indiana 1-1. Maybe you start to get guys, talk about getting guys back healthy. And just like that, and just vanished. And it wasn't even just one singular mistake. It was like mistake. Indiana just made you pay on every single one of them. Stunned. People, Jake Eisenberg, shout out to Jake of First to the Floor. He's the Celtics podcast. He tweeted that, no one deserves to go through what you just went through, but also we want to see the playback clip. The playback clip is not very exciting because me and Corey are just sitting there stunned, silent.
There's no other reaction. There's no reaction to have. Yeah, because there's nothing. Even when it went in, it was just like,
I'm still like,
that's not real. That's not real.
It's 1-1, right? We all agree that the Cavs played better basketball for 47 and a half minutes, and it should be 1-1.
So
right? Like,
so we had this Twitter conversation earlier about how you said if they lose today, the season's over. I disagreed, and in principle, I still agree with my previous disagreeal, but that's not a word. But when you look back at how they lost, you can't lose like this and recover. And I want to get this out of the way quickly. Donovan Mitchell, we'll get to all these plays. Donovan Mitchell afterwards, they said on the broadcast that he had a calf strain. He didn't really want to get into that, but he also didn't deny that he had a calf strain. He also he could neither confirm nor deny that he had an IV treatment afterwards. It took him about an hour to get to the locker room to the post-game post-game interview room. He also said when he was asked about some of those last inbound plays, like, what did you see? Like, why weren't you able to get open? And he said, I couldn't move. So when you're talking about, and it could be one of those things that it hurts more, like it's more like 2 games, maybe like 2 days off, maybe that helps. But that's what makes it so bad. And I do want to say here, and I'm sure we'll say it throughout, Donovan Mitchell did not deserve to lose this game. If one person didn't deserve to lose this game, it's Donovan Mitchell. I think he played, I don't know what your grades were, but I would have given him an A++. I think that he was phenomenal. He did everything. He was the hardest worker out there for the Cavs. He had the most hustle out there. He didn't have his outside shot going, so he kept relentlessly going inside the paint. I don't have the numbers up, but there was a point in the third quarter. At the start of the third quarter, he had like 7 or 8 more attempts in the restricted area than the Pacers did as a team. He just continually went inside the paint, continually got to the line, continually made the plays that his team needed. The Cavs came out really bad in the second half. It was a bad second half. We think of the last minute being bad. The second half was bad. Really, everything after the first quarter was bad. You look at the box score, 35 points in the second quarter for the Pacers, 34 points in the third quarter, 36 points in the fourth quarter. They didn't have the defensive intensity. The only reason why that didn't really feel that way is because in the third quarter, Donovan Mitchell had 15 points. So, he just continually stepped up for this team. And, Max Strus had a good game. Jarrett Allen had a good game. I don't want to diminish that. But he deserved to win this game.
This was legitimately one of the best playoff performances I've ever seen. 48 points. He went, I think, 14 of 23 inside the 2-point range. Still couldn't hit a damn 3 to save his life, but Ford just willed his way to the rim over and over and over again. So the ease in which that he was splitting the defense and getting to the rim and converting some of the most, I mentioned it in the first quarter, he hit the floor like every 30 seconds. Donovan Mitchell was on the floor, getting, just knocked out of the air, bumped. And I'm not even saying that it was dirty plays. Some of them were maybe crossing the line, but nothing like egregious like in game 1, but just every play he's getting knocked to the ground. And yet you look up and it's like, and 1. Free trip to the free throw line, finishing just the craziest, most difficult contested layups I've seen. 48 points, 9 assists. I thought he perfectly balanced being a distributor and a scorer. He literally did it all. If the Cavs win this game, Donovan Mitchell likely ends up with 50 points and one of the greatest Cavs playoff games of all time. It's still one of the best Cavs playoff games, but like this was LeBron-esque almost from Donovan Mitchell. Like this was an unreal game from him, and it's a damn shame that it ended the way that it did. And you mentioned it's bouncing back from this is going to be damn near impossible. There's two ways that this goes. Either this game literally determines the rest of the series and the Cavs just don't have it in them, or the Cavs look at this and say, and I do want to get to breaking down the play-by-play the last 2 minutes, minute, because I think people would want to hear our takes on that, because it was a little bit different rewatching it than what I saw live. But I wanted to make this point real quick. The Cavs could look at these two games. If I'm trying to do the optimistic spin, I still think, listen, the odds are completely against us. It would take a historic comeback for us to win the series at this point, not even mentioning the fact that we have no idea what Mitchell's calf will be like, the injuries. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. But you could look at these last two games and say, well, we dominated in literally every other aspect besides the three-point shooting. Even today, we shot 28%, and we had this. This was a win before the final 30 seconds. Game one easily could have won if we just shot a bit better. They could look at that and say, we can beat this team. In fact, you and me both, you said Cavs in 4 at one point. I said at the start of the series that I think a sweep is more likely than a Cavs loss. I still think that when they're healthy, the problem is they can still sweep them.
They can still sweep them. You know,
well, it's getting to the point
where if you win four straight, that's still a sweep. I think.
I'm making it. I would say, I don't know what percent I'm going to say, but like the odds are completely against the Cavs right now. But there is an optimistic spin. If you're just trying to see what's the way forward for this specific series, they did beat them in every aspect of the game. They haven't had a good three-point shooting game yet. Maybe they won't if they keep running out some of these lineups that they've been forced to play. But that is the way forward. That is the idea. Is they're still dominating these other aspects. I thought, okay, they forced Indiana to 16 turnovers last time. That'll be hard to replicate. 17 turnovers this time. They were crushing
18.
them on the offensive glass. Oh, 18. Sorry, ESPN had 17.
They have a total team turnover, which gives them I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a technical. Anyways, 18 turnovers is the official number.
And they were beating them up on the offensive glass up until like they grabbed 3 in the final minute, which
until there was one big offensive rebound that went against them. So that
two big offensive rebounds really. So let's. Do you have anything else to say on this right now, or do you want to get to the play-by-play? We can get to more takes after, but I want to break down.
Yeah. Let's get to the play-by-play. Sure. All right.
Okay. So
let's start with the Max Strus 3.
Yes, that's where
Max Strus 3.
Should have been a dagger.
So phenomenal play by Donovan Mitchell on that play. They brought 2 to the ball because you had a lineup that had nobody else who could dribble out there. He did, and I do want to highlight this because we complained about this for 2 years, that when he gets trapped, Mitchell doesn't know what to do. He can't make a play. He made an absolute rifle pass from like right there. Okay, I don't know why I'm pointing. Like you guys could see. Anyway, it was a cross-court pass. Like just an absolute rifle. Max Strus nails it. Just phenomenal pass from Donovan Mitchell. 7-point game. I just wanted to highlight that because it's the only phenomenal thing to happen in this last minute stretch. Because this was minute 104 left, I believe, is the number 106, something like that.
106, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually forgot that it all started with that Donovan Mitchell pass out of the double team. And again, just to clarify for everyone, it's been like a little over an hour. I've only seen replays of a couple of these things, but I'm looking at the play-by-play, just the written out version of it. So there might be things that we forget or miss, but great job pointing that out. Yeah, it all started with that Donovan Mitchell rifle pass to Max Strus. He hits the 3, and it's 117-110 with a minute left. The Pacers, they take a timeout. Now, I remember this play. Tyrese Halliburton makes a driving layup, and I remember it because Okoro, he's denying the ball, not letting Halliburton catch. Halliburton gets him, beats him off the dribble, and Okoro kind of backs off and says, okay, I'm not fouling you, and I'm not giving up a 3. You got the layup. And what happened for that Halliburton layup and for the next Pascal Siakam layup, then there was a Siakam layup after that, I believe. Wasn't there? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, free throws. Sorry.
No, yeah, the free throws. Yeah.
Both times it was a case of, all right, we ran him off the 3-point line. We'll give you the 2. Jarrett Allen committed the foul there, but it was like, we're not letting you shoot 3s. But both times, Indiana took the layup and got to the free throw line. And then this leads to Siakam missing both free throws, and I'll let you take it.
Well, also had the Mitchell Mitchell hit 2 free throws.
Oh,
Mitchell
yes.
fouled,
In
hit
between
2
that,
free
Mitchell
throws.
hit 2 free throws, which.
So it's important because that's 48 seconds left, 7-point
Yeah.
game again. And that should have been it, but that's the last, as Corey pointed out in his winners and losers, which go check those out on forthesword.com. Those were the last free throw attempts the Cleveland Cavaliers took, which is, and the last shot attempt. They didn't take another shot. Well, I guess they did take one at the end, but you get my point. Then after that, after Siakam missed free throw, puts it back in, which was unfortunate. That's where Mitchell.
Take on the Neesmith dunk.
That was
People were pissed off about this. There was apparently a missed call on the lane violation. I'm not going to argue about the refs.
Lane violations. Lane violations. You don't call lane violations at that point. I'm not going to talk about lane violations. But that is where Mitchell hurt his calf. He was down on the ground. He was flexing his calf a bunch. It took him forever to. He was on the ground for like 20. He was on the ground for about like a minute before he got up. And when he was walking back, he was not walking very well. So yeah, that was like the turning point of the game, because the possession before they got the free throws because Mitchell got open. After that, they couldn't. So then Mitchell gets the ball, gets trapped on the sideline, and then elbows somebody in the face.
Neesmith.
And that was a foul.
Neesmith again. Yeah. So I want to talk about those two things right there. The first one, so the Neesmith dunk. Listen, I've seen some people, the Cavs, they didn't box out, blah, blah, blah. Neesmith made an incredible play. Like, the reality is, when you're going for a rebound off a missed free throw, nobody is trying to grab the ball straight off the rim. If they literally reviewed it for a potential goaltending, because Neesmith straight took it. The second it was an available rebound, he was already in the air dunking it. So sometimes you have to tip your hat. Incredible play. Yes, should the Cavs have boxed him out? Of course, but it's hard to box out the guy who's crashing in from the 3-point line. And Mitchell, trust me, Mitchell took a bunch of contact trying to get in front of him.
He tried, and then he injured himself trying. So yes,
this wasn't like the Cavs just backed off and said, "Here you go." No, like that was as contested of a rebound as you could get. And then, go ahead.
And sometimes rebounds are there's skill, there's effort. Sometimes you got to get lucky, and the Pacers, they got lucky. Turnover, sideline.
Yeah, there's not much to take there outside of the Cavs get the ball in bounds. Mitchell catches it. Neesmith's all up in his airspace. He makes the move, and it's an unfortunate bang play. I think if his calf isn't bothering him, maybe he just explodes away from it rather than trying to use his body. But there's not much to say there other than, it's an unfortunate bang play.
And this is going to sound rude because I'm going to blame Ty Jerome for this, even though Ty Jerome was not on the court.
Haven't even gotten to Ty Jerome.
We haven't got to Ty Jerome, but the reason why they're able to trap so effectively and you had no outlets is because you have 0 guys who could dribble on the court. I guess Max Strus can, functionally they can dribble, but not in that situation where they're taking press. So you didn't have Ty on the court because he was awful defensively, awful offensively. So Mitchell was the only guy there, and it's easier to trap when you have nobody else to pass it to. So, anyways.
Yeah, and so there's the Mitchell turnover, and then that leads to, this is the Siakam layup I think I was thinking of. There's the free throws. This is the other one that I was thinking of. It was basically the same thing. It's kind of like, okay, the only thing we can't give up here is a 3. And so to a degree, like I was saying it on the playback stream, you give up the layup, but then at a certain point, you're giving up too many layups. Now, this is getting a little concerning at this point. So they have to call timeout after that Siakam layup. It's a 3-point game. Here's the play that I want to discuss, because live, watching it on the TNT broadcast, it was a commercial, and then all of a sudden, boom, they cut, and Max Strus is passing the ball in. So we didn't get to see any of the initial action. Now, when I saw that...
So they called the timeout. They called the timeout because...
Oh, yes, this is a good point.
Because Siakam... Mitchell wasn't on the floor because they put in Sam. They put in Sam for defensive purposes. But so the reason why
Mitchell was hurt.
So that's the reason why you had to put in Mitchell, because he was hurt. And who else are you going to put in? You either put in him or CPJ.
Hey, he had a chase down block and a dunk.
He did have a chase down block.
Crazy. Wait, real quick though, something else I wanted to mention.
So you had to burn a timeout.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. They burned the timeout. Now I will say I'm not going to blame Kenny for this specific decision at all. It made sense. You call the timeout, get Donovan Mitchell in. They were actually in the process of getting the ball into. I don't remember who caught it, but like he called the timeout right as they were passing it in, and I'm almost like, you may have been better off just getting the ball in.
You just have to get 8 points.
I know.
You just literally have to get 8 points.
That's it. So they burn the final timeout, and this is why I mentioned the TNT broadcast not showing us the full play, because I don't know how deep into the 5 seconds was Max Strus. You were there live. I don't know if you caught it. Was he?
You mean
he probably was
on the Ty Jerome?
Yeah.
Turnover.
Yeah.
It was like I thought they were going to call it beforehand. I thought they were going to call it. So like I wasn't
very close.
It was because like you never count, but there's like something in the back of your head that's like, yo, you got to like throw this in, man. And like that's what it was. I want to give credit to Mikey McNuggets. Shout out to him. He pointed this out in the press conference room. Do you remember the Celtics game early in the season when Kenny was fouling up 3 when there was like 50 seconds left? Remember that game?
So, yeah.
And the only reason why they were able to win that game is because like George Niang had like the box out. He did the closeout box out and then like high pointed the ball like a goal line fade.
Yeah, I remember that.
That inbound play. They ran that same inbound play, but for Ty Jerome. So, and Mitchell kind of looks like he blew it up a little bit. If you watch it, like he kind of cuts in front of him. But
it was still there. Mitchell did kind of junk it up, but it was still there.
It was so like Jerome had his guy, and then as soon as the ball went into the air, Jerome lost containment and just gets completely like pushed through. Like, you know, that's like what a safety does to like your weak fourth corner, like your weak fourth wide receiver. Like just blew him up and just kind of took it from him. So like,
yeah,
I don't blame that on Strus. I blame that on Jerome. But I also like don't love that. Jarrett Allen said afterwards, somebody asked, how often do you practice inbound plays? Every day. They do this every day. And like you do this every day, you have a sideline out of bounds. We've talked so much crap about JB Bickerstaff for his sideline out of bounds plays, and rightfully so. And Kenny Atkinson has been so good this whole year. And then that's the play that you come up with. I know it's tough because you don't have Donovan Mitchell at 100%, but like
you also don't have DeAndre Hunter or Darius Garland, which makes getting the ball inbound even easier because there's multiple guys to pay attention to, and flip Ty Jerome for DeAndre Hunter
and
right here.
Mobley.
Hunter can Mobley. Yeah,
because you're fine because Mobley's 7 feet.
Yeah.
He's 7 feet tall.
It's so much easier for those guys to seal someone off rather than Ty Jerome. And so I don't even want to like pile all on Ty Jerome. I will say there's a lot of game from Ty Jerome, but we'll get to that.
1 for 14.
The last play, and I screenshot this and put it on Twitter because again, watching live, everyone's reaction was like, "Oh my god, what is Max Strus doing?" But it's like, no, it was late in the clock. He had to get it in. Ty Jerome, at the time that the ball has left Strus's hands, Ty Jerome has Nembhard sealed. It looks like it should be an inbounds pass. Now, I will say Strus didn't put the ball right on point. It hung in the air, and he tried to lead Ty Jerome a little too much. But you have to seal Nembhard.
There was no way Max Strus could have delivered a good pass to Ty Jerome that it would have actually worked.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll say on that inbounds pass, so one, Donovan Mitchell, he makes kind of that cut, junks it up a little bit. I've seen some people say, "Oh, he should have given it to Mitchell." If you watch it, he's like tangled up with Neesmith. Mitchell has like his arms up in the air. He doesn't create
separation.
No, yeah, there's no way that's a clean catch. The only other option that I'll say is that I actually think Jarrett Allen similarly had Turner sealed, but he didn't look like he was really looking for the ball. So I don't know. It's just Strus in that. Like obviously hindsight's 2020, but Strus to me made the right read. Yeah,
the play call was bad. I don't like a jump ball to Ty Jerome. Like if you're gonna do a jump ball to Ty Jerome, do the JB Bickerstaff play, which is Jarrett Allen stands in one spot, sets a screen, and just says, "Here, give me the ball, and let me try to make one of these guys." Like if you're gonna draw up that play, you might as well draw up the just hand me the ball.
Or let Mitchell be the guy sealing someone. Mitchell, I trust Mitchell's strength and physicality more than Jerome.
But that comes back to the calf injury. He says he can't. Yeah. He literally said he can't move. Yeah. So like that's where
there's a lot of things that went wrong.
There's a lot of things that went wrong,
and then like, go ahead.
And like they have Sam Merrill just like sprinting to this corner.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
okay,
he's out there playing.
what are we doing here? Like,
I think part of this, probably for both Kenny and Ty Jerome, a little bit of playoff inexperience, maybe. Like, I think Ty Jerome, if you watch that play, this doesn't look like playoff intensity from Ty Jerome. He doesn't look like this is okay, I need to catch this ball. It looks like, I'm not saying that the lights were too bright or anything, but it felt like a moment where he was not ready for the moment. And you have to keep in mind, it's literally his 6th playoff game ever, and he's playing a much larger role than he probably
really a second
be on the floor. Well, yeah, technically a second. But so that inbounds play, listen, hindsight's 2020, got absolutely blown up. It wasn't the right call.
But this is where the Cavs lost it. I want to say this is where the Cavs lost it, because it's like 5 point. What are we there? 3 point.
At that point, it's a 3-point game. Tyrese Halliburton drives in.
So if you
commits the foul, it looked like Mitchell on the broadcast, but it was on Ty Jerome. They called it on Ty Jerome, according to ESPN.
They should overturn that. I think it's on Mitchell. But I do want to say that like that inbound pass is where they lost the game. If you get the inbound pass in, you make one free throw. It's over. It's over. There's nothing we can do. So it's completely over. That's where they lost the game, because you open the door for stupid stuff to happen, and stupid stuff happened.
Stupid stuff absolutely happened because they foul Halliburton. Again,
not intentionally. Super weak foul call, and one that I would have liked to seen them challenge, but they had no timeouts.
Yeah, that's.
It was such a bad. It was such a bad. Timeout. It was such a bad. Like Mitchell's just straight up and down bad foul call.
Very, very soft considering the physicality of the game, and I want to be clear for
and considering there's what are we 11 seconds left?
Yeah, 11 seconds. Left. We're not blaming the refs.
If there's Pacers fans in here, just get a life.
Take your win and get out. All right, you already got the win. Don't watch the enemy team podcast to watch their pain. All right,
or if you do, just don't comment. Or if you do comment, like subscribe to the Patreon. We'd appreciate it. Appreciate your support.
We would appreciate it. Listen, so Tyrese, he goes to the line, and I mean, they make in all honesty, the smart decision. He makes the first free throw, intentionally misses the second one.
You think he intentionally missed it?
Did he? Maybe I need to see the replay.
I don't think he intentionally missed it.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because
it was.
I'll let you take it away. I thought he.
It's hard to miss a free. It's hard to miss a free throw that good. I didn't think he intentionally missed it. I thought he just straight up missed it. There's 12 seconds left, so he didn't have to miss it. He was ready to go, obviously, but I don't think he missed it on purpose.
Let's see.
But
you know what? I don't think he missed it on purpose. You're right. I guess live again. We were in such.
When it's live, you see the ball. You see the ball in the air, and you lose your mind.
Yeah. The air that I thought he missed.
He shoots high. He shoots high, anyways. Yeah.
So it comes,
I think,
it comes off
and that's
the front of the rim. Sure.
Three people hit the ball, have their hand on the ball at the same time. Two of them are Cleveland Cavaliers. Turner, Allen, and Mitchell all have their hand on the ball. Mitchell comes in like he said he couldn't move. He came in flying down the lane to get that rebound. He's up in the air. He touches it. Turner touches it. Allen has Turner boxed out.
Yep.
And Turner's a big guy. Right. And Mitchell did his job. Mitchell did his job. Turner did his job. And the ball took a bounce. Well, Ty Jerome.
They don't have anybody. They only have 3 people on the line. They had 2 guys watching Indiana in case they try to crash in for the rebound because what Neesmith just did previously. Ty Jerome, I'm gonna be honest with you, he does kind of get in front of Halliburton. Then the ball bounces towards the other way where Allen and Turner are, and he gets frozen. And listen, like you said, people are gonna think maybe we're making excuses. The ball just found its way to Halliburton. Everybody did their job, except you could argue Ty Jerome should have been physical. Yeah, Ty Jerome probably dropped the ball there, but like, it's still the ball just bounces to Halliburton after all that chaos. And the Cavs had opportunities to where the Cavs lost this game, like you said, is the inbounds. 2 times inbounding the ball. That's where they lost the game. It's not because Jarrett Allen got punked on the glass or whatever stupid, silly thing I'm seeing on Twitter. I'm seeing people saying, the Cavs just aren't tough enough. They
This
didn't lose
wasn't.
the game because they're not tough. They lost the game because they couldn't get the ball inbound twice, and Indiana made them pay.
We'll come back to the not tough enough because I think that's a conversation, but it's not a physical thing. I think if we wanted to talk about mental toughness, we can certainly talk about mental toughness.
Mental toughness,
That's not here. Yeah, it came right to him, and then the Cavs messed up. Ty Jerome messed up
down
again.
Two. The Pacers are down 2.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, I get it. Like, I understand that now it is a 2-point game, so you don't want to simply run them off the line. But at the same time,
however,
the only way you can lose is if he takes a 3. And so Tyrese Halliburton walks Ty Jerome into a step back 3.
We're saying no threes. Like, we've all played this pickup game.
Everybody understands.
No threes.
Worst case scenario, go to overtime.
Yeah, and like, he even had help defense, which was its own problem. Like, Max Strus and Jarrett Allen are like holding Ty Jerome's hand, which is also not good. So like, there were other open threes out there too. But like, if Ty is just standing up on his guy, it's no issue. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm watching it right now, and it's like he completely bites on the drive in a scenario where Jarrett Allen is literally on the nail. If Ty Jerome gets beat off the dribble, Halliburton's running directly into Jarrett Allen 2 steps later. There's no rhyme or reason, no excuse. And like, I'll give him maybe just the smallest amount of credit for actually getting a hand up, but it was too late at that point. You just can't give up that much separation.
No,
it's dumbfounded
that's not
that he didn't run him off the line.
And again, why is Ty Jerome in the game? Ty Jerome's in the game because they don't have any timeouts and they have no ball handlers. So that's another thing where, like, if the Cavs are fully healthy, Darius may be in the game. DeAndre Hunter is in the game. You know, like, you're putting some bigger guys out there. Evan Mobley's in the game. This isn't the same situation. You have 2 7-footers. You know, like, that's where it was just it just broke bad. And that's honestly why we like sports, is because it gives you stuff like this, where as much preparation, as much hard work goes into it, you just have to get lucky sometimes. And the ball bounced their way, and they did the right things. And then Tyrese Halliburton hit the absolute dagger. So
after not
hats
really
off to him.
Playing that well, Halliburton too. Like, I want to rapid fire.
There was a point in the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, maybe.
I think 5 shots.
Dean Wade had more shots than him at one point in the second half.
Yeah, they had done such a phenomenal job on him, and like, yeah, just going rapid fire on a few Cavs real quick. Dean Wade. Listen, I get it. 3 points, 1 of 4 shooting. You're always going to want a little bit more offense from Wade. Phenomenal on defense. 10 rebounds. He was legitimately incredible on defense. The Pacers found their rhythm after the first quarter, but the Cavs built that cushion and hung on to the lead the entire game until, the last minute, because of the defensive tone that they set in that first quarter. And they were really, really good when Dean Wade was on the floor.
Yep. Yeah, he was great. He was their second best defensive player. Jarrett Allen. We'll just go right into this now. Jarrett Allen was phenomenal on defense.
Yeah,
it really did fall off. It really did fall off in the second half. So it's where we will have to talk about it. Like, it was really good, but it was also really bad too in the second half. And Jarrett Allen and Dean Wade both tend to share some of that blame for that. And this is where, if the Cavs have their guys, Dean Wade's able to play with his hair on fire for every second he's on the court, as opposed to, like, on a game like this where he can't. Jarrett Allen can do the same thing because there's another center. Like, it's just an accumulative effect.
Yeah. No, I thought Jarrett Allen was pretty great in this game for the most part. Like, even in the second half, I thought he did a good job of not overhelping too much. There were moments here and there, but for the most part, like, he was out there on Turner for a lot of these plays, even when the Pacers were getting dribble penetration. Allen was like, no, my job is to make sure Turner doesn't get an open 3. And so that made me really happy the handful of times I saw him do that.
And he kept attacking the basket, especially in the third quarter, 10 third quarter points. It was a good game. It was a good Jarrett. You needed that kind of Jarrett Allen game. You got that kind of Jarrett Allen game.
Yep, 100%. And Max Strus, 23 points. He shot 8 of 18, which looks a lot worse than it felt, at least for me. I thought Max
They
Strus
needed all those shots. Yeah,
you needed everything. You look basically down the board, and it's like coming into this game, no Garland, no Hunter, no Mobley. You needed a lot of contributions. Basically, no Jerome. And let's just get this out of the way right now. I'll just make this quick and painless. Ty Jerome, I thought he was really bad last game. Ty Jerome was the worst. This was the worst game I've ever seen from him. 1 of 14. The decision making was pitiful. The shot selection was pitiful. The defense was maybe even worse. You needed Ty Jerome on the floor so badly because no one else could dribble the ball, but you just had to take him off the floor. And it got to the point where Okoro was out there. And listen, I don't know how everyone feels about this Okoro game, but Okoro was bringing the ball up the floor against the full court pressure like multiple times in the second half. And he wasn't good on
wild.
Offense. He wasn't good on offense, but like they legitimately just let Okoro bring the ball up the floor, and the Pacers were pressing him, and he was getting it up the floor without turning it over. And so to me, just to pivot to Okoro, didn't think he had any freeze frame moments. Again, he didn't do anything on offense. He wasn't good on offense. Not pretending that he was, but he didn't have any freeze frame moments. He dribbled the ball up the floor, which I know he's a basketball player.
He's not the reason they lost. I think we can say that.
His job, this is what I wrote for the grades. His job was to play defense and suppress Halliburton, and then on offense, just don't be a train wreck. And I think he's checked both of those boxes today. Despite the box score doesn't look good, but I thought Okoro was good. And it got to the point where like Jerome was so bad that you actually needed Okoro out there. And Sam was also amazing. Shout out to Sam.
Sam was good.
14.
Yeah, he was good.
4 3-pointers. This was an awesome Sam Merrill game. One that hurts so much to waste. A lot of these games, it's like you got an incredible performance from Donovan Mitchell. Huge game from Sam Merrill off the bench. Dare I say good Okoro. You got Javonte Green wasn't even that bad. He was actually like solid. He played good defense. He didn't do anything.
If he would have hit that corner 3, it would have been, the Cavs would have won.
True, sadly.
But
yeah, Porter had a moment. He had a moment, a Chasedown block and a dunk.
And he even got a step back in the playoffs, and that's like he caught the ball. He had nobody near him, and then he dribbled into his guy and said, "Let me spin this back out and shoot it." And he's just like Craig, what are you doing? Like, you can't. You know the clip. Do you practice that shot? You can't. You can't say that because Craig does practice that shot. Maybe we can ask Craig, why do you practice that shot?
No, I literally seeing that live, I was like, oh no, he turned down the open 3-point shot. I guess like he's just a little shy. And then 2 seconds later, step back 3. I'm like, what? Why didn't you just take the catch and shoot?
He always does this.
I know it's literally like engraved into his brain for some reason, but like I thought he was fine. Genuinely, like he didn't take anything. Some people were asking for more Craig Porter minutes, but he got the minutes. He was fine. Fine. You didn't need more. You didn't need more minutes. Yeah,
but they did. Overall, I do want to highlight they did lose Mitchell's minutes pretty handily. Mitchell plus 13 when he was off the court, minus 14. So that's a big deal.
Where he played 36 minutes. Yeah, they lost the non-Mitchell minutes handily. Yeah, he was a team high plus 13. Is that it's not a game high. Miles Turner was a game high 15.
No. But Miles Turner, phenomenal game. Hats off to him.
Really good. Yeah.
Not taking my hat off to anybody else on the Pacers. Under no circumstances you have to hand it to him. But Miles Turner was great.
Well, real quick, I just want to say on Turner before we move on from that. The Cavs went very, very small a few times in this game because there is no Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter as your other backup big. And
so I've heard.
Probably rightfully so, decided not to play Tristan Thompson. They went really small at various points where Dean Wade was at the center. And Miles Turner kind of put him in the basket a couple times. I don't know if it was necessarily Dean Wade, but just like in those minutes where they were small and Turner was out there, eviscerated them, and you couldn't do it. You could do it when Thomas Bryant was out there, who I was told wouldn't be out there. I wish that was more of a win for me, but unfortunately it hasn't mattered.
We gotta take our wins. We don't have many wins right now. Yeah. I
told
somehow,
you fans. You told me he wasn't
somehow.
Gonna play, well, guess what? He played how many minutes?
Boom.
11 minutes.
Hold on.
Bryant, minus
boom.
9. I told you he'd get played off.
Minus 9. Played off the court. Take that.
Right about something.
We had more wins in the Knicks series. Us personally.
Oh my God. Yeah.
We had no wins in the Knicks series.
It was 1-1 going back to New York. You know, we still said Cavs
But
at 5. It's still alive.
my favorite thing, a quick aside, is that we had Justin Rowan on the pod right before the Knicks series, and I think he thought he was going to be on for like 3 minutes, and he was on for like an hour and 20. He looked so fed up. Shout out to Justin Rowan. Thank you.
We definitely held him a lot longer than I think he was expecting because that thing went for like an hour and 15 minutes.
he was So thank you to Justin Rowan for being very, very polite.
We have improved since then. We ask our guests if they have a heart out now. We make sure we don't go too long. Yeah,
and shout out to Tim Bontemps for always being really kind with his time. Anyways,
Tim tweeted something very mean about Okoro today, and I just couldn't get down with it. Tim, he said, I don't understand these Okoro minutes. Look, man, everyone else.
I should follow up. I should follow up with him on that. That's a good take.
Hey,
listen, so anyways,
I'll just say this real quickly. I genuinely thought everyone except Ty Jerome, and I'm not just saying that to pick on him. It's just the truth. Everyone but Ty Jerome gave you what you needed to win today. Mm-hmm. In fact, you could argue even Ty Jerome for 47 minutes was enough to win. It was that final minute from everybody. You know, I'm not even going to blame one person in particular. A lot of things went wrong. The Cavs played 47 amazing minutes. You know what? I'll back up a little bit though. Maybe I'm getting a little carried away.
They played like 30 amazing minutes.
Yeah, they got outscored 36-21 in the fourth quarter, and this is where I have to say once again, I'll take one more victory lap, even though this was the easiest. This was a layup. This was a Craig Porter steal and breakaway dunk for me. Guess what, guys? The Cavs aren't better without Darius Garland. Do you know how helpful it would have been to have a Darius Garland out there? I can't tell you how many times watching this entire game, not just the fourth quarter, but where I said, man, hopefully they can survive these non-Mitchell minutes. Hopefully they can just break even during the non-Mitchell minutes, which they didn't. They went -14, I think you said. Guess what? You don't have to worry about surviving the non-Mitchell minutes when Darius Garland is healthy and playing like Darius Garland, because in many cases, you're still eviscerating teams. It's just like, guys, I know like very few people said it, and I'm just angry at like the very loud Twitter people, but like, oh my God, if Darius Garland was healthy, this series looks entirely different.
Let's move away to big picture stuff. Yeah. This is the worst Cavs game that we've witnessed.
Yeah.
This is the only thing people were saying was worse was the Jordan shot, which we were not alive for. But I can understand how that would be worse. But this is bad. Do you feel like there are losses that can define an era of basketball? This Cavs team won 64 games. Now it looks like they are going to go out. There are injuries, but we've kind of gone over why the injuries have affected this game. Mm-hmm. But the injuries aren't the reason why they blew it in the last minute. Mm-hmm. So where do you go from here if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers? They will never be able to shake the label that they are just a regular season team and that they are soft if you go out sad, as it seems like you are going out sad right now.
Yeah. Step one, you win game 3. You got to bounce back and win game 3. And I think they're capable of it. And that don't even care. I don't even care if Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter are out again. You win game 3. You have to win game 3, even if you lose the series. I know I said you have to win game 2 too, but like they damn near did. If you're going to, not go out sad, you have to go out and win game 3. And I know it sounds impossible. And listen, we have games like this. I would encourage everyone to look back through playoff history, even just last year, and look at how many teams suffered a loss where you're like, no way they'll bounce back from that. That's so demoralizing. And then they do. The playoffs, listen, now we'll see what the Cavs do. But if you truly are championship level contenders, you're able to have a short-term memory, and you take the lessons that you learned and you move into the next game and you say, we almost had them the first 2 games. We're getting them this time. So that's step one, is you have to win this game. If they don't, if they do go out sad, then really, and I don't want to get like too long-term. I think we can save most of the offseason stuff for, whenever that happens. Mm-hmm. But I don't really, just to put it this way, because I've had some people ask, I think the best option is still you just run it back with this team. And I don't think you recreate the magic of 64 wins and everything clicks together the way it did this year. But
You
your
will not.
championship window shouldn't be shut after this. It's just the reason why this is so painful is because there are very, very few times in the NBA where your championship window is open. And I know that they're injured right now, but it's completely wide open.
It's wide open.
There's no other team in the NBA that you should feel would handily beat the Cavs. They'd have a chance against Boston. They'd have a chance against OKC, maybe even Denver, whatever the hell happens there. But like the window's wide open. And that's why this hurts, because you're about to lose to a team that when you're healthy and when you're playing your best basketball, it's not even a question who the better team is. But Indiana, credit to them. They stepped on our throats tonight, and Tyrese Halliburton just delivered generational trauma for Cavs fans.
Generational trauma. And I do want to like highlight that because of they will be a second apron team if they sign Ty Jerome. You are locked in with this core, and there are losses that a core can't overcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you get to the point you think of this loss, and I think they can, because you can always justify it away and say, well, we were missing 3 of our 5 best players. But you have to, like, this is your team going forward, and do you want this team going forward that has shown to wilt? And I don't want to use this the way that like Browns fans use this when they talk about the Cavs, but like you wilted this core wilted under pressure against the Knicks. I thought the core did very well ish last year at points, but they wilted in the last minute, and I don't think there's a way to go over to like talk around that. And I think these next 2 games, moral victories don't mean anything. Like on like in the scoreboard, like if the Cavs lose in 6 games and instead of losing in 4, it doesn't mean anything really. But I think it means a lot. I think it means that this team can fight and rally, and they can pick up the pieces. And if they can show that they can't pick up the pieces for a game 3 or game 4, they can pick up the pieces for 2025, 2026.
I have an example to point to with what you're saying, unless you were building to something right there and I cut you off.
No.
Just with everything you're saying, and obviously, again, we're reacting to this live, but with what you're saying, immediately the first thing that I think about is the Boston Celtics, where that core repeatedly fell under pressure, right? How many embarrassing losses did they take? They lose to the 8-seeded Miami Heat. They go down 3-0. The year before that, they lost to Golden State in the finals. Over and over again, they saw all the proof they needed that this core didn't have it. But as you said, they go down 0-3 to the Miami Heat. They rally back to take it to 7, and they leave that series feeling like if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt, we could have beat them.
Or if Jaylen Brown could dribble with his left hand.
Yeah, that still hasn't changed. But
well,
the fact that they've made it a 7-game series didn't change the ultimate result. They still went home in embarrassment. But it did show, at least to them internally, that we can do this. There's something here. We do have some fight in us. And yeah, I mean, the Celtics, they're probably pretty happy they didn't blow it up at any point, because they ended up getting 1 championship out of it. We'll see if they get any more, but they got 1. And so for the Cavs, the thing that it always comes back to this. As of right now, I don't foresee a way in which they trade or move this roster around that's going to be better than what we've already seen. This core is what you have to basically run with until it's over. I just don't see any way. And maybe 4 years from now, maybe you have to rebuild around Evan Mobley and different pieces if the Mitchell ages, whatever. But as of right now, I've seen people say, that's it. We've seen all. We know this core can't do it. Maybe they can. I think we'll learn some stuff about them in the next few games, but you got to stick with them is my point, because I don't see any other way that this improves. And yeah, listen, I'll hold off on the rest of my take until we see what they might have for us in the next few games. Maybe they go out in 4 and it looks embarrassing and I change my mind. Maybe they take it to 7 and they stun us. I don't know. We have to see. So I don't want to get too deep into the Cavs eulogy here.
And I think there's also something to, again, I do not want to sound like somebody from Brown's Twitter who parachutes in, but I think there is something to be said about guys who play through injuries and guys who try to tough it out. And I'm not advocating for guys to play through injuries when they would be ineffective or when it's harmful. And these are all things that we don't know. But I will say we know that the last two postseasons, Donovan Mitchell was not okay. Donovan Mitchell stepped up and played. We know Jalen Brunson is not okay, correct? He's
Well, he
has some kind of injury, right?
He sprained his ankle in March, and I know he's re-aggravated a couple times, but I will just say this, and
Steph is playing through a thumb
injuries, yeah.
So it's
people play through injuries, and the Cavs, like you said, no one knows exactly. I can't tell you what Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, or DeAndre Hunter are feeling. I will say Evan Mobley, by everything I've heard, he can't put weight on his ankle. I've seen people mention okay, well, Jalen Brunson's playing through an ankle injury. Well, he sprained it in March and missed 2 weeks. Mobley just sprained it 48 hours ago. Talk to me game 4, maybe, and then then we can talk. But the other stuff, Garland's toe, DeAndre Hunter's thumb, I don't know. I don't know.
It's all things that you would like to see, that this team is mentally tough and can really put it all on the line when their dream season, we talked about this with Wendy. This was a dream season. You're literally, the stars don't align often in sports. The Cleveland Cavaliers had the greatest basketball player to ever touch a basketball for 11 seasons, and they got 1 championship. And you can point to a lot of reasons why that was the case. The stars have to align, and the stars currently aren't aligning because they're hurt. But, they're kind of, we can see the stars. So you have a chance here. You would like to go down swinging, saying that, hey, we tried everything and we went down with our best guys. And if there is a best guy out there who can play through an injury, you'd like to see that mental toughness shine through in a moment like this, because that Donovan Mitchell, when he didn't play at the end of the Celtics series last year, it was because he couldn't walk. You know what I mean?
We saw him on one leg for that entire Magic series.
Right. So it's you would like to see somebody else have that same toughness that Mitchell does. So that's what I want to say, is that this team needs, these games are so important, obviously, because you can't win a series down 0-3. It's really important. But it's way more important for the 2027 Cavaliers that the 2025 Cavaliers win one of these next 2 games and keep this going and keep showing that, hey, we can continue to fight back. Because one of the things that's happened this season, the Cavs have always been oh, we fought through adversity before. And it's did you? Did you fight through adversity this season? They had a 3-game losing streak. That was the adversity that they overcame. It's let's show that you can maybe not overcome the adversity, but can you rise to the adversity? Can you do something to, you know what I mean?
And what's so unfortunate about that is that for, again, 47 minutes, basically, they were doing that tonight.
They did that, yes.
And it just completely slipped through their fingers. And so maybe we'll see games 3 and 4. They continue to rise to that moment, and they don't have a minute where literally everything goes wrong. Some of their own fault, some luck. Everything went wrong. I think we can acknowledge that, even though a lot of it was their fault. Everything went wrong. Maybe games 3 and 4, that doesn't happen. Maybe it does. I don't know. We can't predict it. But the next 2 games, at least, like you said, I think we're going to learn a lot about this Cavs team, who they really are. I think I was ready to learn tonight. I thought I was going to learn a lot of good stuff tonight. Unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton shattered my heart. But yeah, man, listen, I don't know what the Cavs' chances are of coming back. All I know is that it has to start with game 3. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm. They have to win game 3. They have to respond. They cannot roll over. They cannot go out sad. You have to punch them in the face in game 3. Do something. So I will be in Indianapolis to document all that goes bad, or maybe all that goes well.
They're 0-2 with you in the arena for this series. Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't know if you know this, but they're 902 when I go to home games. So,
Hey, all right. So that means for the Pacers fans who listen to this podcast, this is the guy who said Cavs before everybody right here.
It could still happen. They just have to win one, and that's what starts the 4. So the 4 hasn't started yet. The series starts when both teams lose at home. That's the saying, right?
Hey, and you know what? And I will say this is the last thing that I'll say on this, because there's I think the official stat is like 92% of teams that start 0-2 lose the series. But like basically every team that's come back from that was like more than half of them were the last like 5 years, because the NBA has just changed.
And they were the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, yeah. The Cleveland Cavaliers were one of them. Home court has changed. It's not as impactful. The 3-point variance has changed it. So like it's not as improbable, but it's not good. It's really
again.
bad.
I will say, if again, we did not talk about the 3-point variance. They shot 28% from 3 today. 28%. And you still have good shooters out there. I know that you don't have Darius Garland, but Darius Garland shoots like 2 threes a game anyways. Not so Max Strus was good. Like Ty Jerome and Donovan Mitchell, 1 for 7 and 0 for 4. Like
Ty Jerome
you don't expect that.
2 for 18 in the series.
Yeah.
I don't know what
so
Ty
it's
Jerome
like
is, but
and the Pacers, it wasn't like 1,000,000%, but 39%. That's still above their average.
Yeah.
So it's like they're doing all the things that you're supposed to do to win games, except that thing. So, all right.
Yeah,
catch you guys at a Taco Bell in Indianapolis on Thursday, Friday. See you guys there.
Hopefully it'll be a
Pacers
victory
fans.
Baja blast. Victory
yeah,
blast,
hopefully.
Jackson. That's what we're hoping
Yeah.
for. All right, Cavs fans, thank you for joining us for this therapy session.
Head to Fear the Sword to read the saddest instant reactions to ever be posted on fearthesword.com. Those were pretty sad, weren't they?
They were very sad. You walked us right through it. I'll be honest with you. If you look at the grades, you're going to be like, wow, everyone played good today. Never would imagine this is the worst Cavs loss I've ever experienced. People had to play good for it to be bad. If people played bad, it wouldn't have been the worst loss. Minor setback for major comeback. That's what I'm hearing. Cavs in 6. That's the official number here. That's what we're saying. Thank you, Cavs fans, for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I was
seeing if I outlasted everybody, but I don't know. You guys see Danny up there?
Oh, yeah.
Danny's still up there. Didn't outlast Danny. Wanted to outlast him.
We saw his 94 feet of despair in the background while you were talking. He's
still up there. I don't know what he's doing. He's the only person in the one of 3 people in. I thought I was the last one. Anyways.
Man. Yeah. Anyways. It's a painful night for Cavs fans, but I'm hoping that at least this pod maybe made a few people feel better. Maybe it made you feel worse. I don't know. Either way.
I will say they went to Austin. Somebody had Bally Sports on in the media row, and it went to, or Fox, whatever the name of it is, FanDuel. They went to Austin Carr. Very sad Austin Carr. Like 1 second afterwards, they're like, let's go to Austin Carr to talk about what happened. And Austin Carr is very sad. You don't want to make Austin Carr sad. They made Austin Carr sad.
That's probably the worst thing that Tyrese Halliburton has ever done.
He made Austin Carr sad. So, all right. Go to fearthesword.com, support the Patreon.
Like, subscribe, comment. Leave
don't
a hate
comment.
If you want.
Don't
do whatever you want.
Don't.
We're not
People are
looking at
mean.
it today. People are mean. YouTube comments. Yeah. Be nicer. Be nicer.
Yeah.
They're mean when we win. Imagine them when we lose. Maybe they'll get nicer. Maybe they'll feel sympathy. I don't know. But YouTube comments, be nicer. You guys are really mean. You're mean. You're just like
you're more mean to me than you're mean to Tony.
You're more mean to Jackson than me, which I appreciate. But like, be nice to Jackson.
Yeah,
There's no Junkyard pod without Jackson. You see him. He's in the arena. He's doing the on the ground work. We wouldn't be able to do this without
hours of work to do here.
He's also like 99.9% more positive than you guys give him credit for. I know everyone gets upset. Oh, he said a mean thing about Jarrett Allen. Listen, we're all sharing our opinions.
This is what I'm saying about Jarrett Allen. He played like an all-star today. He does not do this all the time. But I knew did you know he was going to play great today? I knew he was going to play great today because every time it's like, oh, hey, Jarrett Allen, we actually need you to like really try this game. He goes, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. So like that's what is annoying. It's like so, and anyways, so just want to defend that take.
No, I think it's valid. Everyone, thank you for watching. Genuinely, even the hate commenters, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. With all that being said, go Cavs.
I agree. Go Cavs.